Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I have a very special guest. I have one of the most beautiful, elegant women in late 80s, early 90s teen horror and comedies, movies for that matter. And I got Cheryl Pollak. You may remember her. She was in such movies as My Best Friend's a Vampire, Nightlife, Pump Up the Volume, which she's probably mostly known for, and several others. And we're going to talk to her today, and I'm so excited. I am just so excited. It's going to be awesome. Cheryl Pollak, yeah. Let's see. So, I'm waiting for her to call, and I just got to... Hey, Cheryl?
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I am just awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule today.
Sure.
To me, you're...
How are you doing?
I am great. I am just awesome. To me, you're one of the most beautiful and appealing actresses in the world.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So your first movie was My Best Friend's a Vampire, which is where my crush on you developed.
Wow. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. I just love how androgynous you look as Darla.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was my very first film, and it was a really, really great experience for, I was super lucky to have such great people to work with,
Mm-hmm. How did you get the role?
I just auditioned for it. Prior to that, I had done the George Epstein's commercials, and they got a lot of attention, and they asked me to come in and audition for the film, and I did, and I got the role. And we shot it in Houston, Texas, which was really fun for me because I'm from Texas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So did you really play saxophone?
I did. I played saxophone when I was in school. So I did play then. I don't play anymore. I quit playing quite some time ago. But yeah, I actually did play. Yeah.
This movie came out during a wave of all these like horror-themed teen comedies like Teen Wolf and Teen Witch and Once Bitten with Jim Carrey and stuff. And Robert Sean Leonard, he hadn't even done Dead Poet Society yet.
No, he hadn't. I think he had just come off of doing a play on Broadway, and I think he had done the Manhattan Project. He had done some things before, but he wasn't really very well known yet.
Yeah. What was it like kissing him?
Well, it was incredibly awkward because it was the very first time I kissed anybody, and I didn't, not on camera, and I didn't know anything about acting. So it was kind of super, super awkward, but he was very, very sweet. So it worked out. But it's a weird thing. It's a really strange thing. Even once you've done it a million times, it's just a weird thing to do, like to kiss somebody and have an entire crew there.
Yeah. I love how Darla transforms from being this shy music prodigy to being this semi-sex pot, ironically, long after his nightmare in the beginning of the movie.
It's so awesome that you know this film so well. I barely remember it. I'm trying to remember. I mean, honestly, Tommy, that film was so long ago. It's incredible that you remember it this much.
Oh, God, I was like 6 when I first saw the movie, and I'm a huge cinephile, so like I know so much about like every movie, every classic movie.
What's your favorite vampire movie?
Oh boy, well, you mean like a serious vampire movie?
Just in the entire genre, what would you say your favorite vampire movie is?
Let's see. I can't name just one, but like my favorites. Okay, I love From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's a good one.
I love Vamp. Do you remember that one?
I'm not
Chris Makepeace, Robert Russler, Dee Dee Pfeiffer, Grace Jones.
Actually, I don't think I've seen that one. I'm going to put that on my list.
That's actually the movie that Quentin Tarantino ripped off from Dusk Till Dawn. It takes place.
Really?
Yeah, it's a vampire movie that takes place in a strip bar. But
Wow.
it's an LA strip bar. It's not like a Mexican cantina one like in From Dusk Till Dawn. But it's just like the same concept.
Oh, what year did it come out?
86.
Right, so it was right in that sweet spot of all of those movies when they were just coming out.
Right. I also love the 1931 Dracula with Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one.
Mm-hmm. And Gregory Peck's daughter, Cecilia, plays Nora. What was she like?
She was so wonderful. I gotta say, she was amazing. Like I said, it was the very first thing I had ever done, and I was really nervous, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And she was amazing. She totally took me under her wing, and it was great. It was like having a sister on the set. It was great. It was really wonderful. She's a really, really great lady.
That's great. I just reached out to her for an interview, so fingers and toes crossed.
If you do an interview with her, please tell her that I said hello.
Oh, I sure will. And it was also one of Kathy Bates's first movies.
Was it really? I thought she had done a whole bunch of things beforehand, no?
She probably did, but this is like one of the earliest ones. One of the significant ones, because I think she was like an extra on a lot of stuff before that or something. Yeah, what was she like?
She was great. She was really, really great. I only worked with her for one day because it was a really small role. So,
yeah.
But she was lovely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
everyone was really great.
Yeah, I've seen interviews with her. She's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
And then you had a small part as a grocery store clerk in Date with an Angel. You're giggling.
Yes, I did.
Did you have fun doing that?
Indeed.
Huh?
I'm sorry, you were cutting out. What did you say?
I said, did you have fun doing that?
I did. You know, it was one day I was in and I was out. I was there for, just a couple of hours. It was great. It was really, really great. Again, just really great people. I'm going to warn you right now. I had just really amazing experiences the whole time I was working as an actor, so I don't have any dirt on people. But everyone was I just had this wonderful, wonderful time while I was acting. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tom Mclaughlin, he had just come off of directing Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, and I heard an interview he did. He's quite a character. Was he really eccentric?
I don't remember him being very eccentric, but again, like I said, when you shoot one scene, you don't really have a lot of time there. And if you remember, I think I only had like 2 lines or something. Yeah. So I didn't have a lot of interaction with everybody, but I remember him as being really kind, but I was in and out.
Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then you got to work with Brad Pitt on one of his earliest movies, The Dark Side of the Sun.
Yes.
That was shot in Yugoslavia, which I'm Croatian, part of the Slavic, heritage. That must have been an amazing experience.
It was so beautiful. I really fell in love with that region. It was pretty great. And Brad and I had worked together prior to that. We had done an episode of 30-something and an episode of 21 Jump Street together.
Wow.
So we already knew each other. And he's just, I can't say enough great stuff about him. He's just the most down-to-earth, wonderful guy. Mm-hmm. So it was great to be able to have somebody that I felt so comfortable with, being gone for 2 months away on location, and no one spoke any English. There were very few crew members that spoke English, and we had a great time. It was so much fun being there, and we were all along the Adriatic coast. We shot down by the border of Albania, and then we shot in Kotor, and it was just gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I have to say it's an amazing little gem of a movie.
Yeah, you liked the film?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know a lot of people definitely did.
Yeah. I don't even think anybody anybody who knows Brad Pitt now as a huge star, I bet they've never even heard of the movie.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there wasn't a lot of the film wasn't released for a really long time, and then when it was, there wasn't really so much attention on it. I pretty much think it's a really crappy movie, but I'm glad that a lot of people like it.
It's a nice little story, you know. I mean, it could have been done better, of course, but it's a nice little story for what it is.
I had a lot of fun, so that's what I remember about it. Was just having such a great time, and just being in such a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, there's one thing you did. You're probably gonna think to yourself, I wouldn't know it because it only aired once and then never did again. But it was a pilot called "What's Alan Watching?"
I loved What's Alan Watching. Yes, what a great little project that was. I can't believe it didn't go. It was a pilot, and it was supposed to. They were hoping to go to series, but it didn't go.
Yeah, wasn't it because of the writer's strike?
Yeah, I think it was the writer's strike, but it was so inventive and it was so before its time.
Yeah.
It was a great project.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to find it on YouTube the other day, and funny thing is, I hadn't seen it since I was 5. Yet I remembered every scene. It was really weird.
Yeah, it was a really unique project and really different, and it was so strange that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess they could have tried to revive it after the writer's strike, but it was just one of those unfortunate ones that just didn't go.
Oh yeah, that summer during the strike, a lot of movies were being shot out of town, except for I know Joe Dante's The Burbs was like the only movie being shot in L.A. during that strike, but like that whole thing was insane.
Yeah, I actually was filming. I was shooting a film during the writer's strike, and it was kind of insane. I shot a little horror movie, this zombie movie called
Nightlife, right?
And and we were filming right smack in the middle of the writer's strike. It was just really bizarre. It was just such a weird time, and that strike went on for such a long time.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 months or something. Yeah. But yeah, I remember watching that pilot when I was a kid. I thought it was so funny because Eddie Murphy was playing James Brown on trial. It was so funny. And I think Corin Nemec, he got Parker Lewis Can't Lose from this show because it was the same idea, you know, talking to the camera and kind of living in his own world. You know, he must have been great. He must have been great to work with because he had been acting since he was like really, really little.
Yeah, it was great. That whole pilot was a ball to work on. There were so many great people involved in it. It was a lot of fun.
Pauly Shore playing the boyfriend. Yeah, he was really funny. And Fran Drescher before the nanny. Yeah,
what was absolutely.
What was she like?
She was great. She was really, really great. I didn't have a lot of scenes with her. But when we did we were all together filming, she was just lovely, really great.
Nice. Yeah, I always loved your hair in the show too. You did a very good job with it.
Thank you.
Yes, I love your line too. You're like talking to him through the TV, and you're saying something about eating string cheese even though you don't like string cheese, and like packets of duck sauce. Do you remember that?
Wow. I do not remember that. I do not remember those lines.
Yeah.
You've got a great memory.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm like a child prodigy when it comes to movies. But then you did Nightlife. To me, it's the most underrated zombie movie of all time.
I've actually never seen it.
It's great. It's great. You and Scott Grimes have good chemistry in it.
Oh, good. That was fun. That was a really fun shoot.
Mm-hmm. And John Astin is in it, and Anthony Geary. What were they like?
They were great. They were really, really great. I mean, I'm trying. I don't really have any like great stories or anything like that to tell you because it was just sort of like just work. But they were both really, really fun to work with and just really nice guys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Anthony Geary. Everybody knows him as Luke on General Hospital. That guy is quite a character.
Yeah, I mean, he's a workhorse, man. Is he still on that show?
No, actually, he left. I think about 5 or 6 years ago, something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. He was on that show for first he was on for 7 years, and then he left, and then he came back 7 years later, and then he was on for another 20. It's weird.
Right. Yeah. Soap operas allow you to do that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And he played another character on the show when he came back the second time for half a season, and then they brought him back as Luke the following. And I only know that because my mom told me she watches all the daytime soap operas. I watched them with her when I was really, really little, but then when I got older, I was like, this is so boring. What did I see in it when I was a kid?
Funny.
And then you did Pump Up the Volume, which was one of my brother's favorite movies. He was obsessed with this movie when he was 16 and I was 7. He was obsessed with this movie. He had a crush on Samantha Mathis, and he actually got to meet her at a convention last year that we went to, and got her autograph and stuff.
Yeah, I think pretty much everybody had a crush on Samantha after that film came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any? Do you get recognized for this movie the most?
Yeah, I would say I do. It's interesting. That film has a pretty deep resonance with people even still today. It's kind of interesting. I have, and it's people of all different ranges of age that remember that film and will just come up to me and they recognize me from it. No matter what I do to myself, no matter what I do to my hair, no matter what, people still just recognize me from that, which is kind of interesting. But I thought it was kind of a great film, one of the best soundtracks ever.
Yeah.
And just a lot of fun. There was such a huge cast. It was a ball to work on.
Mm-hmm. And Christian Slater, he was just up and coming. This made him big and everything. Was he determined at that point to become as big as he became?
Well, okay. So here's what's really interesting is. So working on that film, if you talk to anybody else probably who worked on that film, they will have a very different experience than I did. Because if you remember in that film, almost every single one of my scenes except for 2 was by myself. Mm-hmm. Because I wasn't a part of any group, right? So there was one scene where I walk past Christian, and then there's the PTA scene, and then there's the scene out where everybody is listening to the radio coverage or whatever. So I actually didn't work with anybody. There was one day, and they shot the PTA scene and all of the stuff in the field on the same day. So I only had one day where I actually worked with anyone. Mm-hmm. And I actually didn't have any real scenes with Christian. He was just in that one scene. So my recollection of him during filming was he was a really great guy, but I never hung out with him. In consecutive years, I've seen him, and he's always been very, very sweet. But yeah, I really didn't work with him. I didn't really work with anybody on that. Mm-hmm. I was always off by myself. Mm-hmm. Which is so crazy because the cast is so big, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. My favorite performance you've ever given was when you played Marla Hanson.
That's the one that people recognize me from a lot as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's my favorite performance. You really capture her look and her mannerisms and just her empathy and her ambition that she has and everything. How did that role come to you, and were you already aware of the story?
I wasn't. I didn't know anything about it, and people thought that she and I looked a lot alike. Mm-hmm. I do remember people saying that. And I just auditioned for it. There was a big, audition process for it. And I got the role, and I met Marla. I was in New York. We filmed in New York and in Portland. And I went to New York, and I met with her. But for me, I'm not really like an actor's actor. So I didn't really want to try to, spend a lot of time with her and mimic her. Mm-hmm. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. So we got together, and she talked to me a bit about what her experience was. And then I played a character. I didn't play her. But she was great. She was really amazing.
Mm-hmm. I've seen interviews. She seems like a very humble person, especially after what happened to her. How long did it take to put the makeup on? There were different stages of the makeup. So the heel scars didn't take very long at all. They used this stuff that they like. It was this wet sort of alcohol kind of thing. I can't remember what it's called. And they would paint it on, and it would like literally just dry up my skin into like these like scar-looking things. It looked so realistic. I remember when we were shooting the courtroom scenes, we were filming in a courtroom, and the whole space wasn't locked down. So we had lunch, and I remember I was in the bathroom, and this woman saw me, and she was completely unnerved because the scars looked so real. Yeah. But the ones the scars for right after the attack, those took a bit of time to put on. Those took a couple of hours. Well, it surely worked. I said. I have to say though, when at the beginning of the movie, when they show you, on the stretcher, and your face has been completely mangled, it looks so convincing and so chillingly creepy at the same time.
Yeah, they had really good effects people on that. The thing that was kind of weird filming that was the scene, like the attack scene, right? So when we filmed it, they always have the stunt guys, and they have a whole routine that happens with when you're dealing with any kind of weapons. And they were so great because there's something that's a little unnerving about having somebody with like a box cutter kind of blade, coming up close to your face. It's a little nerve-wracking. But they were really great. They let me touch it, and I would be able to hold on to it till right when they got ready to say action, and then I would hand it to the actor. But I remember it was freezing cold. Oh my God, it was so cold when we filmed that. It was. I was losing my mind. It was so cold.
Yeah, and it's a story that's so true today. With the Me Too movement that's going on. That there's so many creeps out there. Taking advantage of women in the arts and all that.
I think taking advantage of women kind of across the board. It's not just in the arts. I think the arts are the people that there's more people that are being very vocal and getting a lot of media attention. I think it's definitely happening in other areas as well. It's just something that women have to deal with, and hopefully things are going to change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's happening everywhere. But all it took was for Hollywood to begin it. To start it up and everything, and I hope it finally makes a change in that direction. It breaks my heart when I see women get abused like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when did you decide that you were going to quit acting and begin making documentaries?
Well, I had kind of an interesting process. Like I said, I didn't really intend to be an actor. It just kind of happened. Right. And I really enjoyed spending time with the crew and watching them and learning what they did. So the more I learned, the more I was interested in what was happening behind the camera. And the more interested I became in what was happening behind the camera, the less interested I was about what I was doing in front of the camera. Right. So it was kind of a process. And then once I actually started producing some stuff, then I really started losing interest. So I actually ended, I think the last job that I did I did an episode of Early Edition, and I think that was like 1999, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long time ago. And then I just decided that I was just going to make kind of a clean break. I mean, I've done some voiceover work since then, but I'm really happy working behind the camera. I just love the crafts of developing a story and working with people and overseeing it and guiding it. It makes me so happy, and I love documentaries. So I don't regret the time that I had in front of the camera, but it seems like it was a really long time ago. You know.
Mm-hmm. What are your favorite subjects that you like to make documentaries about?
Well, I'm kind of interested in everything, so it makes me perfect for working on documentaries. So, yeah. So right now I'm working on a piece. I'm in the research process for a piece that's a story in World War II, and then I'm working on another project that's a podcast actually, and it's about found photographs. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Nice. What kind of stuff have you done in the past? Like, have you done like stuff about like politics or like the movie industry or stuff like that?
No, I've done a lot of stuff on animals actually.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of work with equine related things, but I'm kind of over that now, and it's time to move on and do some other things now.
Nice. Yeah, I've thought about making documentaries about certain things of like the horror movie industry that most people don't even think of, but I'm not very like film savvy in terms of shooting with a camera and all that stuff. There's like days where I want to do it and days where I don't want to do it. I want to tell the story, but I don't want to like actually direct it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So you gotta be prepared for it and like be ready to dive in for the long haul.
Yeah, plus it takes a couple of years too. Like, I was lucky enough to be interviewed for a documentary that Linnea Quigley is making about movie extras, and she's been working on that documentary for like 20 years or something. And I was lucky enough to be interviewed for it, like at the tail end. And I don't know when it's going to come out though, but yeah, it's a long process to make a documentary.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
What do you think is harder to make, a documentary for film or for television, like one of those hour ones?
Well, I think they're different. They're different because it depends on who's involved in the making. If you're doing it autonomously and it's something that you're working on yourself, that's one story. If you're working for something where it's a network job or you're working with a studio and you don't have the autonomy, it's a totally different experience.
I see. I forgot to ask you earlier, what's your favorite vampire movie?
What is my favorite vampire movie?
Yeah.
There's a lot of vampire movies that I like, but the one that comes to mind immediately when you say that, and I can't think of what the name of it is. What is the vampire movie with is it John Malkovich and Willem Dafoe?
Oh God, I can
what is the name of that one?
I can see it. I'm trying to remember what it is.
I loved that one. I'm going to look it up right now. I've got my computer in front of me.
Okay.
Let's see. Hang on, hold, please. Shadow of the Vampire in 2000.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That was such a great movie. I loved that movie.
Mm-hmm. I only saw it. I saw it one time. I think it was good. I'd have to see it again.
I love it. You're not so impressed. Not so much.
Oh no, I mean, whatever floats your boat, but like, I love like the older ones,
Right.
Do you like zombie movies?
Not particularly.
Even though you made one?
Even though I made one, I know. Not particularly. I guess if I had to pick one of those, it would be, what's the one? Is it, what's the one? It has days in the name of it.
Day of the Dead?
No. Is it, wait, no, I have to pull up the computer thing again. Is it called Night? What is it? Is it 28 days?
28 days. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, Tommy, I really, really appreciate you digging me up and having an interview with me. This has been really, really fun.
Oh, my pleasure. I didn't know that you were on Facebook. I mean, I've been doing this for a year now, and I've emailed hundreds of people. I didn't know you were on Facebook until just recently. I saw you on Tiffany Helms, and I was really happy. I found
well, thank you for reaching out to me, and this has been really, really fun.
Oh, my pleasure. Can I add you as a friend on Facebook?
Sure.
Awesome. You have yourself a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Cheryl Pollak. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Cheryl. You were really fun to talk to. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page and all that fun stuff. This weekend is the Silver Scream Fest in Santa Rosa. All you out there watching and listening to this, go check it out. Friday night, I will be covering it as press, and it's going to be fun. And I'm going to bring this festival up the rest of the week leading up to it on the show. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until the next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.